What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Whiskey Wednesday. Last week we did something special. I figured this week we would find something easy to find and readily available. The further and further we get into the whiskey world, man, things just become harder and harder to find. Things that even you could find on the shelf a year ago are becoming increasingly more difficult to find. Companies are stopping products. But we're really excited today to talk about Old Forester Rye. This is one of the oldest whiskeys, or oldest whiskey companies on the market, and it launched Brown-Forman as a company, the Old Forester brand. Known as George Garvin Brown Jr.? George Garvin Brown, period, not Jr. Started Old Forester. He was the first man to think, man, you know what we should do? We should put whiskey in glass bottles because that's the way it should be sold. And we should say, you know, if we're going to put our name on a bottle and we're going to put our name on a product, we should make sure it's pristine. Because before that, you would buy whiskey from a barrel, from a pharmacist, and there's no telling what got put in there. The more you go and read about this kind of thing, the more that you look at like historians' accounts of how things go. People were putting all kinds of chemicals in there. People were putting tobacco spit for color. I mean, all kinds of nasty things you were drinking, and people were going blind. So George Garvin Brown, a pharmacist, thought, man, you know what we should do? We're giving people whiskey for all kinds of different ailments. Maybe we should make sure that it's actually pure. Now, Old Forester Rye is the newest addition to the Old Forester line. Some of you guys may have had the Old Forester 100 Proof, the 86, the ever so sought after birthday bourbon. Maybe you've had like a single barrel pick. They launched Old Forester Rye last year, and I can tell you I was never more excited about a new rye hitting the market as I was with the Old Forester Rye. This is actually from the initial release. I think we bought like 5 bottles, mainly because it's cheap, but also because I was super worried when it came out that it was going to be something where they released a product and then people got really hype about it and then it became hard to find. That was not the case. That was the case with Woodford when they released their malt whiskey, which I thought was super good. Some people didn't. I think it's fantastic. I actually have a bottle that's signed by all the awesome people at Woodford. That being said, Woodford and Old Forester are both owned by the same umbrella company, as well as Jack Daniel's, Slane Irish Whiskey, Sonoma Croutere wines, if you're a wine drinker. And they're just the greatest people in the industry, like hands down. Chris Morris, the head distiller for Old Forester, for Early Times, for Woodford Reserve, for Cooper's Craft. That guy is like, he's like an encyclopedia and an open book at the same time. Like if you ask him a question, he's ready to answer. He'll give you whatever he thinks is the best answer. There it is. So let's quit talking about well, and I gotta mention Jackie too. Jackie Zayan, the master taster at Old Forester. She's awesome too. I actually got to try their President's Choice Barrel Number 1 with Jackie at Old Forester at their urban distillery in Louisville. Go check them out there. Tell them we sent you. They will probably not know who we are, but that's okay. They're great people. This is super cheap, or super affordable. It's not super cheap. It's like right at the $20 range. We actually use this at the bar that I work at as the well whiskey. So if you come in and you get like a well old fashioned, a well remember the Maine, just like you just want a Manhattan, this is what we use. We absolutely love it. It's got a great nose. Just like right off the bat, you really smell the malt in this rye, which is something I really appreciate about what they've done at Old Forester, is they've taken a very classic style rye. It's became really popular in modern times to do like a 95-5 rye with 95% of your mash bill being rye and 5% being malted barley. Chris Morris went through all kinds of different records looking at classic rye recipes and found that the majority of ryes from the 1800s, from the early 1900s, all had a very high malted barley percentage. And they decided to go with 20% malted barley and a high amount of corn as well. and you can really smell on the nose like that malted barley. It has almost like a reminiscence of if you're into drinking like high-end Irish whiskey like Slane, or you take another like Redbreast, the Powers John Lane is another that comes to mind. All of those have like that really awesome light fruit nose to it, and you definitely get a little, like you get some reminiscence of that on the nose with the Old Forester Rye. Good bit of rye spice. It's got like that perfect age to it too. I really like rye whiskey. I like rye whiskey better than I like bourbon, to tell you the truth. And I think this is such a perfect representation of a younger rye, and the color on it is fantastic. And by younger, I mean this is aged, I'd say 4 to 5 years. If I had to guess like an age range, maybe there's a little bit of older rye in the mix too, but it's definitely not like a 10-year rye, and it's definitely not like a 2-year rye. Just that sweet spot they really strive for. They pick the whiskey when it's ready. With Brown-Forman products, they don't pick the whiskey based off of a certain age, which I really like that approach to whiskey. Man, and like right at the beginning of the palate, you get this really sweet, rich, like almost honey like tones at the very front of the palate, and then it just wakes up with baking spice all through the sides, all through going towards the back of the palate, and it's got this really clean finish that kind of lingers with you, but it's not super aggressive. At that 100 proof range, it's like the perfect, just the perfect mouthfeel, the perfect richness, and the perfect amount of dry. I don't think I've ever made a Brooklyn with this cocktail, but I think this is like perfect Brooklyn rye. I normally use Willett Family Estate 4-year, which has got like a little bit more of a herbaceous palate, but I think with like this like light baking spice, just clean mouthfeel, I think it would make a really awesome Brooklyn. I'll get back to you guys with that at some point.
Maybe we can do a video on it.
Maybe we can do a video on it, yeah. This is, if you're looking to get into rye whiskey, say you've been drinking bourbon for a while and you're like, man, I'd really like to try rye. There's no better way to go about this. I mean, 20 to 25 bucks at your local liquor store, you should be able to find it no problem. Yeah, man, they did such a great job, and like, I'm so happy that we can just burn through Old Forester Rye at the bar that I work at, because man, it's such a great product, and it's really amazing to have something in your well just ready to roll, day in, day out. Cheers, guys. Hope y'all are doing great out there. Be sure to like, comment if you can, subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram too if you want. I'm at mleonard31. You can check us out there. I've got some whiskey in a box videos over there that are unwatchable, but you can check them out. Cheers.